Hello everyone, Vicki Ashard here with Nature's Best Art. Thank you for joining me today. Last year I painted these 3 ornaments, wishing everyone a happy new year, and posted that on my Facebook page, and would like to paint one this year also. My inspirational message for last year was do all you can do, be all you can be, with the words on my string there, hope, connect, and beginning. Made a really nice message and people enjoyed that. And this year I'd like to do the same design. So what I'm doing is I made my drawing on my paper and I'm tracing it on my transfer paper. It's going directly on my watercolor paper, which is Arches 140-pound cold press. And I was a little hesitant about using cold press because it has tooth to it, and which means it's a little bumpy. And the hot press, which I did pick up this year, I bought some hot press Arches this year. It's a smooth paper, but I decided to use this, and I found that it did work well. So if you have cold press, you can use that. If you have hot press, you can use that too. So this year, I'm using the words on that string of the ornaments, hope, plan, and enjoy. And so I planned a lot last year. I do have a planner, and it worked really well, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm going to do that again this year, and I do like to, be an inspiration to others as much as I can with my art. And so that's why I wrote these words. And so there I am, writing those words in there, taking my paper off, my transfer paper. Now I'm going to be using masking fluid on the letters and also the numbers. And I'm making a snowflake there instead of my putting a 0 there for the 0. And what I do, how I do this is I use a very old brush, and I put water on my brush with some Facesoap so that it doesn't get a lot of stuff on my brush. Doesn't leave it on my brush, but it'll come off and go on my paper. And I find that this works very well. Now this is a very stiff brush because I've used it quite often. If you have an old brush, it might not work real well if it's not been used. So they do have these pointer like little bottles that you can use, but I never bought one of those, and I'm gonna actually get one of those eventually. Now I just showed you my paint that I'm going to use. We'll be talking about my paint throughout the painting here. What I'm doing is adding lots of water and just letting that beautiful Prussian blue and ultramarine blue run where it wants to run. I just love those colors together. Doing the same thing on the bottom, but just on the top, the very top of those ornaments. And creating a little bit of a sky here. That's a great thing about watercolor. You can, put color in, take color out. And I like to use a Kleenex. Sometimes I use a paper towel if I have a very big area. But I mostly use Kleenex. Works really well. Look at how that water runs. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I just love those colors together. And I think I'm going to make this a tradition. Actually, I'm going to make these 3 ornaments. I'm going to have and it's an inspirational message, and create this maybe yearly. And now I'm using a Sharpie. It's a ultra fine point. I actually got a group of these from my these kind of pens from my son for Christmas. They're called Color Burst Sharpie Ultra Fine Points. And I asked actually for the fine point, not the ultra fine, but that it's okay. I use it for this project. It worked out wonderfully. I'm going to be probably using it for several projects I thought of. And I'm really glad that I did get the ultra fine point. And I can't tell you what color the green was because they don't have any colors on the markers themselves. But it's the darkest green in the bunch there that I got. And you know, I put those words before I painted my last ornament because I wanted that to dry because they were very close together. So I want to make sure that I didn't run into that middle ornament. That's why I did my words before I painted that last ornament there. And now I'm going in and painting my my green in. And the green that I used was yellow ochre and Prussian blue, a mix of yellow ochre and Prussian blue. And that made a really pretty green. I'm just making sure that it doesn't get anywhere besides those ornaments. If it did, what I could have done is put some splatter marks on the paper, but you know, I was careful and I didn't get any, you know, other than those ornaments. Well, I don't know if you can hear that wind outside. It's been so windy today. Now here I'm putting just a little bit of that color on the white. I didn't want to leave it white, so I'm just putting just a little bit. But you know, we have had no snow for Christmas. We didn't have any snow, and it was in the 50s and the 60s. This is Michigan, and it's really different for us this year. And today it's windy and kind of rainy. But now here I'm making sure that the ornament, you know, looks finished on the edges. So I'm adding my blue around where the blue is. Yeah, we in Michigan we do like I think most people like a little bit of snow for Christmas. But oh, now here I'm putting another glaze on with Prussian blue and ultramarine blue, making it darker. I want it as dark as I could get it, with just a little bit of a highlight showing on each ornament. We still have our Christmas tree up. I keep it up till after the January 1st, and I take it down. It takes me 3 days actually to get the Christmas tree and all the decorations that I put up every year. You know, it takes me 3 days to get them up and 3 days to get them down. Okay, now here I'm adding a little scenery on the bottom of this, and going in with that green that I made. And I wanted it as light as I could, so so I'm getting, this is like the background. Of what I'm going to put on top, which is a darker green. But that green there is a mix of yellow ochre and Prussian blue. It worked out really well. And just defining those lines. There's that wind. Oh, you know, I think I'm actually going to make this a tradition. I think I'm going to do this every year because, you know, I do love to, you know, share my thoughts about, you know, what I'm, you know, as far as being inspirational as much as I can with my art. I think I mentioned that. And I think this is just one way that I can share that. Yeah, I was beginning to say I used a planner last year, and I found that really helped a lot with, you know, what I was going to do for Nature's Best throughout the week. And also it helps because I, you know, sometimes I babysit for my grandchildren. And so, and then, you know, I put the word enjoy too, because I think the more I plan, and I know what's going to happen, you know, that next week, or I seem to enjoy myself better. I seem to feel more grounded. I don't know about you. Leave any comments you want about being organized, about what do you do to get yourself organized for the week, and what you're going to do. And you know, I remember when my children were small, you know, it was so important for me to stay flexible. 'Cause you never know if, you know, children, if they get sick, then you got to change your plans, or maybe, you know, they don't want to do something or other. And so if you have small children, it's, well, even now I still need to be flexible because some, you know, things come up, right? And that's just life. And those trees were the Prussian blue and ultramarine blue. Just making sure everything's dried, because I think the next thing I'm going to do is go in and put those words. Yeah, I'm gonna, you know, I'm actually, the next thing I'm going to do is paint the tops. So I didn't want to lean over and get my hand in wet paint. And I made, you know, that gray is actually ultramarine blue, a mix of ultramarine blue and burnt umber. Then you put a lot of water, and it makes a grayish. So kind of a silvery top for those ornaments. And then I went in and not so much water with the ultramarine blue and burnt umber, and that makes the black and the darker for the shadows. So that works out real well. I really like that. Instead of the stark, you know, black, I like to make my black a lot of times. Just looks a little bit more natural. I'm sorry about my voice sounds a little raspy today. I picked up a cold over the holidays, and it's almost ended, but you know how that goes. But anyway, drying the tops. And now I'm taking that cement, with my cement eraser, I'm taking the masking fluid off. That works really well. You can take it off with your fingers, but it gets tough, you know, and it's hard on the fingers. So, and I'm going in with that Sharpie again, the permanent marker. I'm just, you know, I used my best writing. I don't ever practice writing. I just whenever I, you know, use, you know, I make my letters on my pictures, I just do my best. And then for my snowflake, I go in with a Uni-ball Signo gel pen. Make that as pretty as I can. Then I made a mask for the ornaments, and you'll see me putting a piece of paper. There I go. I cut that out, and I'm going to be using my Pro White. It's an opaque watercolor, and splashing some, spattering some paint on there with my toothbrush and making it look like snow. Then I go in with my number 4 round and I put bigger dots for the snowflakes there. And that paper really saved me from getting those splatters all over my paper, and that's why I made it. I just cut it out just so it'll go just right on the ornaments. And now I thought I could put little stickles on that snowflake and make it a little shiny. Thought that would be pretty. And there it is. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I want to wish everyone a happy new year, and I hope that you all can enjoy your year with lots of hope with your planning, and enjoy what you plan. Until next time, happy creating.